Chapter 1. The Invitation. The email arrived at 2:17 a.m. Daniel Mercer was still awake, staring at the ceiling of his small apartment. Sleep had avoided him for weeks. Debt had a way of doing that. The message was short, too short to feel legitimate. A business opportunity in China, consulting work, logistics analysis, 6 months. More money than he had earned in years. No interview required, no background check mentioned, only a flight ticket attached, and a hotel reservation in Shanghai. Daniel reread the sender's name several times. He didn't recognize it, but he recognized desperation. His career had collapsed quietly, no scandal, just irrelevance. He told himself it was temporary. It never was. The email felt like a rope thrown into deep water. Suspicious, yes, but reachable. Daniel replied before doubt could settle. He closed the laptop slowly. Outside, the city slept. Inside, something had already begun moving. Chapter 2. Departure. Daniel packed light. Too light for a 6-month stay. He told himself it was efficiency. In truth, it was detachment. The airport felt unreal at dawn. People moved with purpose. He lacked. His phone buzzed once. A confirmation message. No signature. No contact number, just a gate and a seat. He didn't tell anyone he was leaving. There was no one left to tell. The plane lifted smoothly. The city shrank beneath clouds. Daniel felt relief first, then guilt for feeling it. He watched the in-flight map obsessively, crossing borders he'd never imagined crossing. Time stretched uncomfortably. Sleep came in fragments. Dreams felt unfinished. When he woke, the language around him had changed. Announcements sounded distant, unfamiliar. The plane descended into endless lights. Shanghai waited below, massive, impersonal, hungry. Chapter 3. Shanghai Lights. The city assaulted every sense. Neon reflected off wet pavement endlessly. Traffic flowed like a living organism. Daniel felt invisible immediately. The hotel lobby was silent despite its size. Staff spoke perfect English, too perfect. His room was high above the street. The city looked endless from there, alive, unconcerned with him. He unpacked slowly, checked the window locks twice. No reason, just instinct. His phone connected briefly, then lost signal. A message appeared before disappearing. Orientation tomorrow, 9 a.m. No address. No name. He wandered outside anyway. Crowds swallowed him instantly. Faces blurred together. Languages overlapped. He felt watched without seeing anyone. When he returned, his keycard was warm, as if recently used. He told himself it was paranoia. Chapter 4. The Company Without a Name. A car arrived exactly at 8:55. Black. Unmarked. The driver didn't speak. They drove far from the center, past districts Daniel couldn't place. The building looked abandoned. No signage, no reception desk. Inside, people worked quietly, too quietly. Computers hummed softly. No personal items anywhere. Daniel was given a badge, no logo, just his name. He was shown his desk, already set up, files already open, work already waiting. He asked who his supervisor was. The man guiding him smiled briefly. You will know when necessary. No one ate lunch together. No one used phones. Conversations stopped when Daniel approached. He noticed locked doors, many of them, and cameras that followed movement subtly. The company existed, but not officially. Chapter 5. Unspoken Rules. Daniel learned by observing. No questions, no wandering, no curiosity. Employees arrived early, left at different times, never together. He was given logistics problems, supply chains that made no sense, routes that looped unnecessarily, warehouses that didn't exist publicly. Every correction he suggested was rejected, not angrily, calmly, as if already anticipated. A woman at the next desk finally spoke to him. Don't optimize, she whispered. Stability matters more than efficiency. Before he could respond, she stood up, left for the day, never returned. Her desk was empty the next morning. No nameplate, no files, no trace. Daniel checked his own badge nervously. Still there. Still warm. The rules were clear now. He just hadn't agreed to them yet. Chapter 6. The First Shadow. Daniel noticed it on the third evening, a reflection that moved a fraction late, a figure across the street that stopped when he stopped. At first it felt coincidental. Shanghai was dense, crowded. Patterns happened naturally, but the feeling returned every night. In elevators, in subway windows, in dark storefront glass, someone followed without urgency, without aggression, patiently. At work, his badge malfunctioned once, just once. Security watched him longer than necessary. He felt evaluated, not suspected, measured. That night, his hotel room phone rang. No sound, just vibration. When he answered, no one spoke. But breathing came through clearly, slow, controlled. Daniel hung up. The line stayed open for 3 seconds, then disconnected itself. Chapter 7. A Japanese accent. Daniel heard it in the hallway. 2 men speaking quietly. Their Mandarin was poor. Their Japanese was fluent. He recognized the cadence immediately. Sharp consonants, formal structure. One laughed briefly, not humorously. Practiced. When they noticed him, conversation ended. Eyes met briefly. Assessing. Later that day, Daniel found a document mislabeled. Its metadata was in Japanese, dates traced back decades, routes crossed borders that didn't align with trade, ports in China, transfers in Korea, final stops in Japan. Daniel closed the file immediately. At lunch, no one spoke. The silence felt heavier. That evening, he searched Yakuza in China. Most results were buried, removed, inaccessible. Someone didn't want the connection visible, and Daniel had just seen it. Chapter 8. The Wrong Meeting. The invitation arrived, printed, left on his desk. No email, no message, just a time and location. A restaurant below street level. Daniel considered ignoring it, but his badge glowed green when he touched it, as if reminding him. The restaurant was empty except one table. Men sat calmly, well-dressed, no visible weapons. Tattoos peeked from beneath sleeves. Traditional, deliberate. A man at the head nodded politely. They spoke English flawlessly. They thanked Daniel for his work he hadn't agreed to. They explained logistics as philosophy, movement as control, delay as power. Daniel realized this wasn't a meeting, it was confirmation. When he stood to leave, no one stopped him. That was worse. He left knowing refusal wasn't required anymore. Chapter 9. The Dragon and the Serpent. The woman returned, not to her desk, to Daniel's apartment building. She introduced herself as May. She spoke carefully, avoiding walls, avoiding windows. She explained alliances, temporary, fragile. Chinese syndicates provided access. The Yakuza provided discipline, control, enforcement. Daniel was valuable because he was foreign, disposable, but useful. She warned him not to run. Movement attracted attention. Stillness bought time. May said the city was layered, above-ground commerce, below agreements, deeper still, consequences. She left abruptly, refused contact details. At the door, she paused. "They don't kill quickly," she said. "They teach first." Then she disappeared into the stairwell. Daniel locked the door and didn't turn off the lights. Chapter 10. Marked. Daniel woke to pain. Sharp, localized. His arm burned beneath the sleeve. In the mirror he saw the mark. Small, precise. A symbol burned into the skin, not deep enough to scar, deep enough to warn. His phone vibrated immediately. A message appeared. "Now you belong to the system." At work, no one reacted. But security gates opened faster. Files unlocked without request. His name appeared on documents it hadn't before. Responsibilities expanded silently. Daniel understood the truth finally. He hadn't been hired. He had been placed. And placement meant ownership. Outside, Shanghai moved on, unaware. Above him, cameras followed. Below him, decisions waited, and the shadow no longer followed. It walked beside him. Chapter 11. Conditioning. Daniel's routine changed without discussion. Meetings appeared on his calendar uninvited. Files updated themselves overnight. Permissions widened silently. He stopped asking who authorized anything. Authorization became irrelevant. Every morning, the same black car waited. The driver never spoke, never checked mirrors. Traffic opened naturally. The city bent slightly around him. Inside offices, people avoided his eyes. Not fear, recognition. He was being shaped, conditioned through repetition. Predictability created obedience. At night, he dreamed of corridors, endless, windowless. Voices instructed him calmly, not commands, expectations. Failure was never mentioned, only improvement. When he woke, his body responded before thought. Control no longer felt imposed, it felt efficient. Chapter 12. The tattoo beneath skin. The mark on Daniel's arm faded, not disappeared. It sank inward, invisible to others, present to him. Sometimes it tingled near water, sometimes during negotiation. He learned it wasn't symbolic, it was functional. A marker recognized by systems. Doors opened when he passed. Phones vibrated near him. Once, a scanner beeped incorrectly. Security waved him through anyway. No explanation. At a dinner meeting, a man showed his back briefly. Full Yakuza tattoos. Traditional, painstaking. Daniel understood then. The mark wasn't decoration, it was initiation. Incomplete, but sufficient. You didn't need full membership, only alignment. Partial ownership was enough, and partial freedom was the illusion that sustained it. Chapter 13. Lessons without words. Violence was never demonstrated, only implied. Stories were told calmly, accidents described clinically, men who vanished were referenced vaguely. Daniel learned through absence. People stopped returning. Emails went unanswered. Offices emptied quietly. He never asked why. Curiosity attracted review. Review attracted correction. Correction escalated quickly. He adapted instinctively, became observant. Learned to read posture, tone, silence. The Yakuza did not rush. They refined. Each task tested loyalty subtly. Each success expanded responsibility. Daniel realized something disturbing. He was good at this, not morally, functionally. Efficiency rewarded itself. The city recognized competence, and competence was its own trap. Chapter 14. The Man Who Failed. Daniel met him in a hallway, a man older, hands shaking slightly, eyes hollow. He whispered Daniel's name, too familiar. They had never met. "Don't try to be useful," the man said. "It makes you visible." Before Daniel could respond, guards arrived. Not aggressive, professional. The man didn't resist, didn't scream. He looked relieved. That night, Daniel searched records. The man's name never existed. Employment history blank, residency absent, travel impossible, erased completely. Daniel checked his own files. Everything was present, organized, too organized. Failure wasn't punished. It was deleted. And Daniel was still being written. Chapter 15. The Threshold. A choice presented itself quietly. No ultimatum, just divergence. A transfer proposal, higher clearance, permanent placement, Japan, not exile, elevation. The message ended politely. Alignment required. Daniel understood the meaning. China was probation. Japan was integration. He stood on a threshold, not between countries, between identities. Declining meant stagnation. Stagnation meant review. Review meant disappearance. Acceptance meant surrender, but surrender came with structure, belonging, power without ownership. Daniel looked at the city, infinite lights, silent systems. He realized something chilling. The city didn't trap him, it trained him, and training only ends one way. Chapter 16. Arrival without ceremony. Japan did not welcome Daniel. It absorbed him. No customs questions, no stamps, no delays. A man waited beyond the gate. Black suit, no tie, no name offered. The city moved differently here. More precise, more intentional. Buildings felt closer together, as if listening. Daniel was driven through districts without explanation. Neon blurred into shadow. Crowds parted subtly. Not fear, awareness. His phone updated automatically. Language settings changed. Contacts appeared. Schedules filled. The man finally spoke. "Do not rush understanding." Daniel nodded. He already wasn't rushing. The city was teaching him patience. Chapter 17. House of Quiet. The house was traditional. Wood, paper walls, stone garden, no visible security, none needed. Shoes aligned perfectly at the entrance. Daniel learned quickly. Disorder felt offensive here. At night, the house breathed, not metaphorically. Temperature shifted gently. Floors creaked intentionally. He slept on a futon, dreamed of kneeling rooms, voices behind screens, judgment without faces. In the mornings, tea waited, always warm, never steaming. The caretaker bowed, never spoke. Daniel felt watched constantly, but not threatened, protected. Ownership had transferred. He belonged to the space now, and the space would decide his worth. Chapter 18. Ritual of Usefulness. Daniel's tasks became ceremonial, not violent, precise. Deliver documents, observe meetings, confirm compliance. Silence carried weight. Speaking required permission. One mistake mattered, not morally, structurally. He witnessed punishment once. No blood, just removal. A chair left empty. Tea cooling untouched. No one reacted. The ritual continued. Daniel understood the lesson. Usefulness preserved presence. Emotion created friction. Friction slowed systems. Slowness invited correction. He adjusted his breathing, his posture, his gaze. He became unobtrusive, efficient, invisible when required. That invisibility was privilege. Chapter 19. The ink that waits. The tattoo was offered formally, no pressure, a room prepared, clean, quiet. The artist bowed deeply, tools laid out meticulously. Daniel hesitated. The pause was allowed, rare. He asked one question. "What happens if I refuse?" The artist considered. "Nothing," he said, "and everything." Daniel understood. The needle touched skin. Pain arrived slowly, purposefully. The ink spread deliberately. Not decorative, informational, history embedded, hierarchy encoded. When it ended, Daniel felt lighter, not empowered, aligned. The mark was no longer beneath skin. It was him. Chapter 20. Acceptance. Daniel stopped thinking of escape. Not consciously, it simply lost relevance. The city functioned better with him present. That was enough. He learned names he would never repeat, places he would never describe, rules never written, yet absolute. One evening he stood overlooking Tokyo, millions of lives below, systems overlapping perfectly. The man from the airport stood beside him. "You are trusted now," he said. Daniel asked what that meant. The man smiled faintly. "It means responsibility, without reward." Daniel nodded. That felt correct. Belonging no longer felt dangerous. It felt inevitable. He had not been attacked. He had been recruited, refined, absorbed. The Yakuza did not conquer him. They recognized him. And recognition, he learned, was irreversible. Chapter 21. The first debt was not discussed. It was assumed. Daniel learned this quickly. A favor granted required alignment. Alignment required memory. Memory required silence. He accompanied a senior member one evening. No instructions given. Observation only. A restaurant closed early. Staff bowed deeply. A ledger changed hands. No money visible. No threat spoken. Later, a fire occurred. Accidental. Efficient. Daniel understood the sequence. Debt settled itself. Systems corrected imbalance quietly. He felt no guilt. Guilt implied choice. There was none, only placement. And placement created responsibility. Responsibility created debt. The cycle completed itself. He slept well that night. That disturbed him more than fear. Chapter 22. Language Without Words. Daniel stopped translating thoughts. Japanese came naturally now, not grammatically, functionally. Meaning arrived before language. Silence became punctuation. Pauses carried authority. Eye contact replaced signatures. He noticed tourists differently. Their noise felt intrusive, their urgency inefficient. He avoided them instinctively. One tried to ask for directions. Daniel bowed instead. The man walked away confused. That was safer. The organization valued clarity. Clarity did not require speech. Meetings shortened. Decisions arrived faster. Daniel was consulted now, not asked. Inclusion felt heavier than threat. He carried knowledge improperly earned, yet perfectly fitted. The city adjusted around him. He adjusted faster. Adaptation felt like relief. He stopped missing home. Home no longer applied. Chapter 23. The tests were never announced. They arrived disguised as routine. Daniel was given a package, told to deliver it personally. No address provided. Only time, midnight rain falling deliberately. He walked unfamiliar streets calmly. The city guided him. Neon reflected off wet pavement. A man stepped into his path. Wrong posture, wrong shoes. He reached for the package. Daniel didn't resist. He stepped aside. Allowed proximity. The man froze. Fear surfaced too late. Others emerged silently. The package remained untouched. Daniel was not thanked. He was acknowledged. That mattered. The test was never about the package. It was about reaction. He had not disrupted flow. Flow was preserved. He passed without knowing how. Chapter 24. The weight of names were dangerous. Daniel learned which not to ask, which not to remember. Some names carried gravity. Others carried disappearance. He heard one spoken incorrectly once. The room went still, not tense, corrective. The speaker apologized immediately. Later, Daniel noticed the chair empty, permanently. No record remained. The system did not punish. It corrected misuse. Daniel practiced restraint obsessively. His memory became selective, not forgetting, filtering. That skill elevated him. He was trusted with coordination, not authority. Authority was visible. Coordination was power. Power without face endured longer. Daniel became careful with thought itself. Some thoughts never surfaced. They dissolved internally. That felt healthy, necessary. Chapter 25. Distance from blood violence existed, but rarely witnessed. Daniel understood why. Witnessing created narrative. Narrative invited judgment. Judgment destabilized systems. Instead, consequences occurred off-stage. Results arrived quietly. A business closed. A family relocated. A name erased digitally. Daniel signed documents he didn't read fully, not out of ignorance, out of trust. Trust moved faster than doubt. One night, he asked if people died. The answer was measured. Sometimes, the man said, but death is inefficient. Daniel accepted this. Efficiency explained everything. Emotion wasted resources. Waste invited scrutiny. Scrutiny invited collapse. The organization avoided collapse expertly. Daniel felt safer here than anywhere before. Safety did not mean kindness. It meant predictability. Predictability felt merciful. He stopped questioning outcomes. Outcomes were not his concern. Chapter 26. The Visitor. A foreigner arrived unexpectedly. An American, loud, curious, asking the wrong questions. Daniel recognized the danger immediately, not to the organization, to the man himself. He intervened gently, redirected conversation, changed seating, ordered drinks. The foreigner laughed, unaware. Later, Daniel watched him leave alone, safe, unfollowed. The organization noticed Daniel's interference. No reprimand followed. Instead, he was reassigned. Higher responsibility. Intervention had preserved efficiency. A variable was removed peacefully. Daniel felt relief, then guilt, then neither. The system did not reward morality. It rewarded stability. Daniel aligned with stability now. That alignment was irreversible. He had protected someone without disrupting flow. That was mastery. Chapter 27. Reflection. Mirrors unsettled Daniel again, not because of delay, because of accuracy. He looked appropriate now, posture corrected, expression neutral, eyes unreadable. The tattoo beneath clothing pulsed occasionally, not pain. Reminder, identity no longer felt singular. He was a node. Nodes didn't reflect. They connected. Daniel tested himself emotionally, thought of his old life. No reaction, thought of his family. A flicker. Then silence. Memory remained intact. Attachment had dissolved. That frightened him briefly. Fear passed quickly. Fear was inefficient. The mirror approved. That thought disturbed him. He stopped thinking it. That, too, was efficiency. Chapter 28. Promotion without title. No ceremony marked Daniel's advancement. Access simply expanded. Doors opened without request. Information arrived early. He was no longer supervised. Correction would come later if needed. Trust functioned retroactively. He coordinated across districts, never centrally. Centralization invited collapse. Decentralization preserved resilience. Daniel learned to disappear between roles. Courier, observer, interpreter. Each temporary, none complete. That incompleteness protected him. One man congratulated him quietly. "Longevity suits you," he said. Daniel didn't respond. Longevity was not a goal, it was a byproduct. Ambition invited attention, attention invited disruption. Daniel maintained neutrality perfectly. Perfect neutrality was invisible strength. He felt essential. Essential things were never named. Naming limited function. He remained unnamed deliberately. Chapter 29. The Cost That Arrives. Late cost did not appear immediately. It accumulated silently. Daniel noticed physical changes. Sleep shortened. Dreams ceased. Time compressed. Days merged. He did not age normally. Stress stabilized him. Calm unnerved him. One night he felt panic briefly. No cause, just absence of instruction. The system corrected quickly. A message arrived. A task followed. Purpose restored equilibrium. Daniel realized dependence had formed, not on people, on structure. Freedom now felt chaotic, unacceptable. He imagined leaving again. The thought felt absurd. Leaving implied direction. Direction implied desire. Desire implied individuality. Individuality had no function here. Daniel was not trapped. He was optimized. Optimization removed alternatives. Alternatives were waste. Chapter 30. The city holds. Years passed unnoticed. Daniel stood on a rooftop again, Tokyo breathing beneath him. The man beside him was different now. Younger, older, it didn't matter. "Do you regret anything?" the man asked. Daniel considered honestly. Regret required comparison. Comparison required another life. He no longer had one. "No," Daniel said. The answer felt correct. The city continued functioning. Trains ran, lights pulsed, lives overlapped flawlessly. Daniel was part of the rhythm, not visible, not replaceable, necessary for now. That was enough. The Yakuza did not own him. Ownership was inefficient. They integrated him. Integration endured. The city did not let go. It never needed to. Those who belonged stayed willingly. Daniel belonged. And the city held him perfectly.